All right, good afternoon, guys. Hey, it's Tom. Hope everybody is well. As I said when I jumped on a minute ago, we got a pretty small group. Actually, it's growing, so that's okay. But as we get deeper into April here, we'll likely do fewer calls and probably switch them to monthly or every other week. We'll see how it goes. But clearly, you guys have lots to do, so I don't want to keep you busy or occupy your time in here listening to me ramble. So I wanted to go over a couple of things, a couple of ideas, a couple of potential things that I think you should be doing as we continue to roll through round one here, and then I'll open it up to any questions or anything that you guys want to talk about. But I don't anticipate spending a lot of time on this call today, just because I know everybody's got stuff to do. So to begin with, I had a head slap moment earlier in the week in talking to one of our guys about a marketing effort, which everybody always does things a little bit differently. Everybody has their own ideas. And door hanging is obviously something that most companies do, whether you're out doing a door hanging campaign or a door knocking campaign, or your guys or you are just putting information on somebody's door, or as you're doing applications. It's always a good idea that when you do an app to do leave a door hanger on the neighbors' lawn doors to let them know, just to advertise, because you're right there. We used to call it clover leafing. Every time you do an app, you should leave a door hanger on everybody that surrounds that particular property. But check this out. What a great idea this is. This is a sticky note. So door hangers, usually cost. They're not cheap. Maybe if you're good, you can get them for less than $1 a piece. But it's a pretty significant piece of paper. It's usually not flimsy. It's thick stock. Sometimes you have to you get them cut out to hang on doorknobs or whatever. But Peter at Acorn showed me what he does. He said he goes through thousands and thousands and thousands of these. I don't know if he's on the call. Let me look. Peter, you happen to be on this call? Nope. I thought this was just such an awesome idea. I was like, man, I gotta show these guys. So as you look at it, it's just, I know the picture kind of sucks, but maybe I can move it around. Maybe not. So you guys, everybody knows what Post-it notes are. You probably have a bunch of them on your desk. I do. They're everywhere. You can get them printed to say whatever you want. So Peter has a couple of different things. He's got his Acorn landscaping advertisement, which is advertising, his regular landscaping business, and then he did thousands of B-Safe ones, and he literally just has. Hold on. Computer crash. Hopefully everybody can hear me all right. So he just makes up all these. The B-Safe one, it says affordable organic lawn care now available through Life Lawns, and then contact information. He just sticks those suckers everywhere. I thought that was a pretty good idea. Does anybody else do anything like that, or anything similar to that other than regular door hangers? I'm sure you guys are all doing door hangers, or at least a version of them. But when I asked him who he uses to do it, I thought I opened up the link here. Maybe I didn't. Rats. I'll go on and look for it. Hang on one second. So he has a company that actually, here it is, called the Discount Printer. And I sent them an email asking for a quote, and this is what they got back to me as the discountprinter.com. So if I click on this, I say, why the heck not get a few thousand of these? They're wicked cheap and perfect. So like custom printed Post-it notes, 8 pads of 50 each, $12.79 a piece. So I mean how cheap is that? This is better than paying $1 a piece for a door knocker, door hanger. So if you got 40 pads, you know, it's what, 2,000. It's 2,000 Post-it notes for $150. No brainer. Go for it. So thediscountprinter.com. Thediscountprinter.com. All right. That was one thing I wanted to bring up. Next thing I wanted to bring up before I hand it over to you guys is I had a couple of questions about lime and pH. So let me address those, and those will lead into something else and how you're going to sell it. You should always be doing a pH test on every lawn you treat round one, and make note of the pH. You've all been to training, and you always, I recommend that Kelway soil tester. I bet I could Google it and bring it up. pH is important for a couple of reasons. One, well, pH is important for two very important reasons. One, you want a neutral pH for the grass to look good. And part of the grass looking good is to get the microorganisms happy. And microorganisms are most happy with a neutral pH, or as close to a neutral pH as possible. Here you go, these guys right here. Different ones. Some have said that this doesn't work as well as others. Whatever it is that you're doing, find the best pH meter you can find and get the pH of every lawn you treat round one. Every single one. Because, again, for two reasons. One, the first reason is that the grass is going to grow the best and the happiest at a neutral pH. And two, if the pH isn't neutral, you're going to sell lots of things to get it to be neutral. So of equal importance. One, you want the pH to be neutral because your grass is going to be happy. The microorganisms that we're trying to promote to get the grass to be happy will be happy. And two, you will just be amazed at how much lime you sell as a result of pH being off. I say lime. It doesn't have to be lime. So depending on where you are and what your soil pH is, if your pH is low, meaning if your soil is acidic, you want to apply calcitic limestone to be able to raise it up. If your pH is high, meaning your soil is alkaline, you're going to want to use sulfur to reduce it. Both lime and sulfur are best applied as granulars. And they're basically commodities, especially lime. So we're not going to try to sell you lime. You can get lime or sulfur, source it locally. So you don't want to ship it. The freight is too much. Go into your local Lesco. Talk to, you can get it anywhere. It's not something that's difficult to source. So what I want you to do, or what you should do, is as you get these pH readings round one, and just do it. You're going to sell a lot of lime as a result. You just got to do it. Make a list up. And we have a great question that's going to lead me to the next thing. How should we communicate the pH to the homeowner? Well, two things, two ways. The old-fashioned way, the way we used to do it, is through a leave behind. So at every application that you do, every round that you treat, you should be trying to upsell a supplemental service. Remember the old, come in low and hard and upsell things after the fact. That's why when we talk about when you try to sell your lawn care program, I don't always suggest that you offer everything that you do. we talk about the oil change metaphor. When you go to the place to get your oil changed, it used to be you'd get your oil changed and that was it. And nowadays, you go and you get your oil changed and the bastard comes up to the window with a clipboard and starts railing off 15 other things that he thinks you need. And how do you feel when they do that? You feel pretty annoyed, for one thing. It's annoying because you just came in to get your oil changed. You don't want your transmission fluid changed. You don't want your windshield wipers changed. I mean, they just go on and on. But you also start to feel like, you know, sometimes you feel pressured into buying, you know, something, and by the time you leave, you realize that you've spent $75 when you went in for a $19 oil change. So I don't think it's too different in lawn care. Sell your service, and it's okay to offer a couple of different options. You know, you can do your gold, silver, platinum, or your, you know, however you do it, that's fine, because you'll always get people who want different levels of service. But I think you should peel back some of the other things that you're selling, at least as you're making that first sale. And then throughout the course of the year, you always suggest supplemental services or upsells. So round one, what I would do if I were you is when I complete my round one treatment, I would either put in a leave behind, I would do a piece for limestone, and at that point you'll say, today I measured, I took a pH of your soil. The pH is 5.8, and that is very, very low. And again, have it pre-printed, so you just have to write in 5.8 or whatever. And you recommend X amount of lime applications. The second thing you should be selling right now is ant, flea, and tick control. And ant, flea, and tick control can be applied, recommend 3, maybe even 4 applications of season-long ant, flea, and tick control. Most of you guys know that people are in a panic about ticks. People hate fleas. Ants are a nuisance. So what we used to do is we'd have a leave behind card, and this was, you know, before, it's kind of a long time ago, but we'd have a postage paid postcard, and all they had to do was write their name and information down and send it back. So with some sort of a leave behind, you're going to sell supplemental services, especially with lime. Again, you'll have different levels, different tiers. If a pH of a soil is 5.3, you know, you should recommend 4 applications of lime over the course of the year. If it's, you know, 5.8, recommend 3. If it's 6.2, recommend 2. If it's 6.8, recommend a maintenance lime application. Doesn't have to be perfect, so just make a price list and a chart that tells you exactly what to recommend. But 6.8 to 7 is about neutral, and that's about where you want to be. Anything less than that, you know, if it's 5.8, you might want to recommend 3 applications. You get what I'm saying? I could probably write this down and spell it out for you. It might make it easier, but I think you're grown-ups and you can figure out what I'm talking about. Leave that behind for them, and you'll be amazed at how many people buy it. So 2 things. It's good for the grass. You want a neutral pH. Whether it's high or low, you want to adjust it. Everything that you do will work better with a neutral pH. Your microorganisms will colonize more rapidly. The soil, the turf will be able to take up nutrients more freely. With low pH, many of the nutrients that are in the soil are locked up and not available. On the other hand, also with a low pH, with a high acidic soil, a lot of your herbicides that you're using won't work because it essentially neutralizes the efficacy of the herbicide. Anything that's acidic is going to prevent anything that you do from working as quickly as it should. And I just say acidic and low pH and lime by force of habit because that's what I've always dealt with. If you're in a part of the country where the soil is alkaline, it's high pH, and you want to reduce it, the same thing applies. You just, instead of using granular lime, you're going to want to use granular sulfur. Get this information into the hands of your customers using this little tool here. Got a little thing to put on your belt. Clip it right on your belt. That's a very, very nerdy thing, is to have a pH meter on your belt. And I know firsthand that a lot of you guys are very nerdy. You're very nerdy lawn guys. Very nerdy lawn guys have pH meters on their belt. Who was it at training that time when I started talking about this? Said, yeah, I got one of those. And he ran out to his truck. He had his pH meter with him. It was winter, and that's nerdy. Same thing happened with a soil probe one time. Somebody ran out and got their soil probe. Get one of these, put it on your belt, get nerdy, measure the pH of every single lawn you treat. Round one, leave something behind with them to indicate what they need, and also suggest your ant, flea, and tick treatment. That's the old-fashioned way, leave behind or call. The new-fashioned way would be to use this. So every time you do an application, you would, and I don't have this set up. I was going to set it up before, and I should have, and I didn't because I didn't have time. Come back at the end of the day with the services, that the homes that you treated. You have a create a program is Lyme. Probably isn't filled out very well. Let me look real quick. It's not even active. I'm going to edit this. How's everybody doing? All right. So set up your limestone treatment. What I would do is I'd set up a service for 1 lime, 2 lime, 3 lime, 4 lime, or 1 sulfur, 2 sulfur, 3 sulfur, 4 sulfur. I could do a heck of a lot better with my description here. My pricing is probably not set up right either, and maybe I'll go back at this with you guys next week or something after I've got it set up. So do your treatments, come back, click on outbound quotes. Generate quote, or if you've got them already in your contact list, you just click on that. It makes it real easy. I don't have a limestone template built yet. Build a limestone template that says today obviously today I treated your lawn. I did a soil pH test. I found it to be blank. Fill that in and send it to them. It's so simple. I won't go through this right now. I know most of you guys are using this program. It will have as much value for in-season upsells as it does for pre-season new sales. So at the end of every day, come back, sit down, send out estimates for limestone and ant, flea, and tick control. Actually, as I'm talking it through, you could probably combine it somehow. You know, have lime and ant, flea, and tick. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that wouldn't work. No, I think I'd rather keep them separate. Send out a quote for limestone, and again, set up your template that says, today I did your treatment, everything looked good. You could even, write a couple things in there if you wanted to. You could say, I took a pH test. This is what I got for a measurement. It's a 6.3. I recommend you do 2 lime applications, and then you send them the estimate to do it. It allows them to sign up right back. So this is happening 24 hours a day. This isn't happening, during business hours. It's happening when they're checking their email. It could be the middle of the night, could be 6 in the morning, and you will make a lot of supplemental sales this way. Same thing with ant, flea, and tick control. Send it out to them that says, I recommend our ant, flea, and tick control program. This is the cost. This is what you have to do to sign up. Let's see, I've got a preventative grub control. I'll go through the motions just so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm clicking on preventative grub control. We're going to pretend it's Lyme. It's not really. It says preventative grub control. Today's app. Line copy. Oh, this is new. Luke's always doing new things here. So I'm going to manually enter totals because I already know what my price is going to be. I don't have to measure anything. I'm going to use my grub preventative here. I know it's going to be $50 again, I'm going off of, I'm making it up here a little bit. But you will know each individual customer. I wish I had set this up before. I'm sorry. Would have been much more smooth if I had set it up before. Here's my template that I've got set up for preventative grub control. You know, if you got an iPad, you can do this right in the truck. You can do this right in the truck after every application, and it you know, it takes a couple minutes. It should just be as part of your daily routine, and you'll be amazed at how many supplemental services you upsell. Many. I'll show you what it looks like. It's been sent. My computer is exploding with slowness. Here it is. Now I'm acting as the homeowner here. You got to get in the habit of following systems. The more systems that you're executing, the more commonplace and boring and everything is, the more successful you're going to be. It doesn't have to be exciting. You just need systems that repeat all the time. So I just got my grub preventative application estimate here. Here's the template that I had set up, the description of the service, and it's real easy for me as a consumer or me as your customer to say, yeah, I want it. I don't want to pay you right now. You know, I'm going to pay per application. Sign me up. Sale. Ding, 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 ding. Got to enter their phone number. Try again. Oh, I did it wrong. All right, you get the point. Sale. Ding, 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 ding. We've also emailed you a PDF copy of your order summary. This kid Luke, he is constantly upgrading. Constantly upgrading. And here is my PDF copy that I'm going to view and sing, and you all think I'm crazy. Here it is. How easy is that? I did it, and it's not even set up. You have to do this, guys. You're going to increase your sales a lot. You have to get in the habit of doing this. Round one, sell lime and ant flea and tick. Round one, lime and ant flea and tick. Round two, how about ant flea and tick and grub control? Round three, aeration with overseeding. Round four, aeration with overseeding again. Round five, aeration. Every single application you do, sell something. A couple questions here. Let me look at them. For ant flea and tick control, I would use cedar oil. Except you want to know what? We're having a little bit of a hard time with the Cedarside company in regards to product registration. They have sporadic product registration throughout the country, and I'm just beating the crap out of the guy to give me answers, and he doesn't seem to want to give them to me. But I'm going to continue to get them. I would use cedar oil for ant flea and tick control, Ted. It's such a great insect control, especially surface insect control. A lot of you guys keep asking me about grub control, and I have got a grub control. I'm just trying to figure out how to price it, and if I'd rather just send you guys to them, to the company that's making it, they don't want to do that. The company most companies like this, manufacturers deal with distributors, and they don't like selling directly to end users. But I got to keep the price down for you guys too. I'd rather, if we resell it, obviously we got to mark it up a little bit, but I don't want to. I want to keep the price down as much as I can. So for grub control, it's going to be it's a neem product combined with a soil inoculant. It's going to be really good. It's a little pricey. That's right, Scotty. So Ted, cedar oil for ant, flea, and tick control. I'm working with Cedarside to figure out what states they have it registered in, and that's kind of important. Ask Dave Malevsky, who also I think is on the call today. What's up, Dave? Search for other cedar oil products. Lesco carried one last year that they were selling for mosquito control. It was pretty cheap, and if Lesco's selling it, it's obviously registered everywhere. John Deere, not Lesco, sorry. I'll talk to my brother to see if they're carrying that again. Actually, as a matter of fact, and Dave, if you're on, I'm going to talk to Bob today about that because I don't want to wait any longer for Cedarside to figure out what the deal is with product registrations. Answer to your question is cedar oil, where you get it. Cedarside, if it's registered in your state. Maybe Lesco, if I can find out about that other product, and I'll give you an update on that. So here's a couple other questions here. And please ask questions because I'm about done with what I had to talk about. I want to talk about the Post-it notes and upselling supplemental services and pH. So ask the questions. Sorry, guys. Cedar as in like a cedar tree, C-E-D-A-R. Cedar oil, like cedar, like smells good, like cedar oil. Cedar, C-E-D-A-R. Yep. No, not seed her. What's a recommended strategy for minimizing in-person lawn evaluations, looking to cut time spent driving to customers' homes for pre-sale meetings other than My Lawn Quote? Huh. Well, I mean, that's a good question. That's what MLQ is designed for. That's the whole point of it. Maybe a combination of MLQ and the telephone, Brian. Which, by the way, your MLQ is set up really, really good. And thank you for talking to Sal. Sal, are you on here today? Let me look. Sal. I don't see Sal. Brian, your MLQ is set up real nicely, and Sal Gomez happened across it, and he thought it was cool and had questions about your pricing specifically. I don't know how it was random. I mean, Wisconsin to Colorado, and I don't think you guys know each other, but I guess that's benefit of the network. Thank you for talking to him. How do you minimize in-person lawn evaluations? One way you could minimize in-person lawn evaluations is to charge for them. You know, the old lawn inspection report days are kind of gone. It's like maybe 10% of the estimates that you want to do expect a lawn inspection report. That's what we always used to do, and that's why, True Green, I think, still calls it that. But if you're out doing estimates and doing lawn inspection reports, you're not exactly, you're just writing a couple of things down. There's not a lot of inspection going on. So if somebody's asking for you to come out and actually do a lawn inspection and meet with them, charge them $25. I mean, that would minimize it. With the new mapping on MLQ, the upgraded mapping, you can get much closer look at the properties than you could before. Now, you can't, depending on the season and the trees and all that stuff, it's not like you're going to be saying, oh, I think you had grub damage here. But you can get a good look at the property. To minimize in-person meetings, again, for me, it's all about volume. It has less to do with FaceTime than it does with volume. It's about volume and speed. So most of the time, somebody's just going to want an estimate of price, and they're going to want to move on. That's awesome, Tina. Tina's saying she's making sales on MLQ. So awesome. And she's continuing to type that they it was an inbound quote, did the estimate themselves and ordered their service. That's what it's all about. And again, it's about driving people to that page where they can do the measurement themselves in as much volume as you possibly can, and reducing the sales cycle altogether. So I'm kind of racking my brain here, Brian, on other ways to do that. And I'm not sure I can think of any other ways, because that was the whole point of developing that program. Maybe you can do a combination of MLQ quoting and the telephone. That's always good. Always go to your existing database. Anything you've already got in your computer and in your database for people who've had estimates before, or who've canceled. Anybody any contact you have, send them an estimate and follow up on the phone. Or call first and say you're going to send them an estimate. But I agree, cutting time, to use your words, cutting time spent driving the customers' homes for a pre-sale meeting is important. I would always strive for volume. Last week we talked about putting something on Facebook, a sponsored post using the MyLawn quote measuring tool. And I think, again, as much as you can get people to do their own estimates in as many numbers as you can, the better off you're going to be. A few more questions here. Let me. Mike, you're right. And Brian, I'm going to read what Mike Riley just wrote, because sometimes that face-to-face is worth it. So let me back up a little bit as I'm thinking this through, and let me first read what Mike said. If you do a face-to-face, you should walk away with a check for the season to make it worth your while. 2 appointments yesterday, and I walked away with $1,200. If you're going to get in front of somebody, there's no reason that you shouldn't make that sale right there. If you're going to spend the time to go out and meet with the person and do a lawn inspection report, maybe you don't want to charge them for it, because if you've gotten that far and you walk on the lawn, ask for the sale. As Mike says, it was a $1,200, 2 stops for $1,200. That's where the volume is less important. If you can get in front of somebody, you should make the sale every time. Sometimes you get hung up, and no offense to older people or whatever, but I can remember getting hung up on lawns doing estimates with retired people, and you can tell that they're just picking your brain for what they're going to do. And you can easily spend an hour somewhere and not walk away with a sale, and you're just basically giving somebody information. So sometimes that's tricky, but there's 2 sides to it. Like Mike said, if you can get in front of somebody, you're going to make the sale and get the check. But if you're going to do volume too, again, I guess we always go back to it's a combination of lots of things. It's not just one thing. It's just not one thing. You have to always be doing many, many different things, especially in today's day and age when marketing is so weird and crazy and hard. You need as many sources as you possibly can. So referral, face-to-face, MLQ, direct mail, email, all that stuff. You have to, guys, we've been having these meetings now, these conference calls since last fall, and it's all about the analyze, plan, implement, adjust. And we're in the implementation phase right now, because you've analyzed and planned. If you didn't analyze and you didn't plan, you're probably a little bit beat up right now because you don't know what to do. That plan is so important to be able to tell you what to do and diversify all of your marketing strategies as much as you possibly can. If you didn't do that planning, you're regretting it right now. You're absolutely regretting it. I think I'm caught up with questions. Anything else, guys? Anything else you want to throw at me? I've had lots of conversations with guys about mixing and spraying this week. So does anybody have any questions about mixing, calibrating, and spraying? Maybe I'll run through a little bit of math here. Probably wouldn't hurt. Let's see. Well, maybe I won't if people don't need it. Is everybody okay with their mixing, spraying, calibrating? Oh, Frank the Tank, are you here? Frank the Tank is not here. Okay, so Frank is one of our applicators who is doing blanket applications of liquid corn gluten. And he called us last week, I believe it was Friday, right, Scott? Called Scott Friday morning going, I don't know what's up, something's going on. This gluten isn't going through isn't pumping right. It's clogging up my tank. So Scott comes to me and says that, and I'm like, oh, okay. It's not uncommon. First day of spraying is always a problem. If you got through your first day of spraying of the year without something falling apart, breaking, or getting screwed up, you're doing all right. You know, because you could be spraying lawns for 20 years, and day one is always going to create an issue. So I said, something's, he'll be all right. He calls back and says he's really, really in trouble. He had 2 defective drums of corn gluten. Something had gone wrong. He was sending me a ton of pictures. There are large chunks of what are being determined as some sort of solidified starch. And we obviously replaced them right away. So if you're running your liquid corn gluten, you may want to do a little check in the drum, a strainer check, mix it up, and then strain it a little bit to make sure there aren't big chunks in there, because I haven't heard it from anybody else other than this particular lot. But it caused them an issue, and it didn't want to mix right. So if you've bought the liquid gluten and you're doing blanket apps on your customers, check for big chunks of product, starches that's solidified. Check it out. So when you're mixing and calibrating, and it's hard for me to speak in generality because I know everybody uses different tanks and rates and everything else, but so if let's go with a 200-gallon tank. I'm going to get my calculator here for a minute. With a 200-gallon tank, you're spraying at 1.5 gallons per 1,000 square feet. You should be spraying at 2 gallons per minute. So let's go with that. 7 ounces of growth activator per 1,000 square feet. 1 ounce of kelp per 1,000 square feet. So you got a 200-gallon tank. You want to spray at 1.5 gallons per 1,000 square feet, 1.5 gallons of finished product. That's going to best be applied at a rate of 2 gallons per minute. Put on your 2 gallon per minute nozzle. That's the yellow one, I think, right? And I know a couple, they're different. Can anybody verify that with Lesco or with the Kemlon gun, it's the yellow nozzle, 2 gallons per minute? It says it right on there. It's either the yellow or the green one, I forget. Usually 2 gallon per minute nozzle. It's not going to be perfect. Just because you got a 2 gallon per minute nozzle on it doesn't mean it's going to magically spray at 2 gallons per minute. It's going to be affected by your pressure, the rate at which the motor is running, the health of your pump. There's lots of things. So in order to make sure that you can make it work, do a bucket test to get 2 gallons per minute. Mark off 1 gallon in a bucket and stick your gun in there and spray it and time for 30 seconds. And in 30 seconds, you should spray out 1 gallon of product. If it comes out too fast, turn the pressure down. If it doesn't come out fast enough, turn the pressure up. That's the bucket test, bucket check. If you really want to get good at it, mark off 1,000 square feet in your parking lot. And once you're at 2 gallons per minute, go out and test in 1,000 square feet. You should spray 1,000 square feet in a minute. And you should spray 2 gallons of product no, it should be a little bit less than that, I'm sorry. You should be spraying 1.5 gallons per 1,000 square feet, which should happen in a little bit less than a minute. And again, it's not a perfect science. It is absolutely not a perfect science, but you're going to want to always double check your rates. If you're going out with 200 gallons and you're spraying at 1.5 gallons per 1,000 square feet, you should spray 133,000 square feet. If your tank is empty after you've sprayed 100,000 square feet, you're spraying way too heavy. If you go out and you spray 133,000 square feet and your tank is half empty, you're way light. You got to check it over the course of the day. And it's like everything else. You just get good at it. You get to know the tricks. But my suggestion is 2 gallons per minute, 1.5 gallons per 1,000 square feet. So here's your rates. You should put together a fill chart. Does that make sense to everybody? Am I boring you? I'm assuming everybody is already kind of knows this, but I figured I'd review it. So you figure out if you're spraying 133,000 square feet and you need to apply 7 ounces of growth activator per 1,000 square feet, you multiply 133 times 7, and that gives you 931 ounces. You're not going to want to measure by ounces, so you divide that by 128, which is 7.2 gallons. So every time you fill up your 200-gallon tank, you're going to want to put in 7.2 gallons, 7.27, so 7.25 gallons of growth activator. Kelp's easy because we're doing it at 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet. If you're treating 233,000 square feet, it means you need 233 ounces divided by 128, 1.82 gallons. It's not perfect. If you want to put in 2 gallons, because it's easy to measure, go for it. So everybody get it? Some of you guys are spraying at 2 gallons per 1,000 square feet with a bigger tank. So you always have to kind of start the math at how much your tank's going to cover, divide that by the number of ounces, multiply by the number of ounces, and then divide by the number of gallons. So it's math. I would make a fill chart. Make a fill chart to have right where you're filling. So products, your growth activator and your kelp you're running now. Some of you guys are on to round 2, actually. I get my New Hampshire thing going on. We still have some snow on the ground. If you've started round 2, your products are your 702 and your kelp. We've even started looking at a couple guys beginning to order product for round 3, which is different than it was last year. Round 3, I might as well start talking about it because lots of you guys have ordered your round 2 product as well. If you haven't ordered your round 1 product yet, some of you haven't, you better order it because it's going to be May before it gets to you. We're in the first week of April. It's 2-3 weeks before it gets to you. If you haven't ordered your growth activator and your kelp yet, and I think you should all order starter fertilizer too for seeding and weed control too. You better order it because you're going to miss round 1. And yes, you always want to mix everything together. You always want to put everything together in that tank. Don't mix up separate tanks. So if you're applying growth activator and kelp, they go together in the tank. And your gluten if you're doing gluten too. So round 1, growth activator, kelp. You should have your starter fertilizer. You should have your Fiesta and your Adios. Round 2, your 702 and your kelp. And your Fiesta and your Adios. You're using your Fiesta for dandelions, your Adios for everything else. Round 3, for those of you who are about to order your round 3 product, you're going to need your organic bioscience powder, which is, I think, my second favorite product. And a product new this year that we call, what do we call it? Ocean Green. You guys know how fancy we are with our naming of our products. Ocean Green because it's a mix of kelp and iron. We called it Eco Kelp Plus, but then the creative force behind Natural Technologies got involved and said, let's not call it Eco Kelp Plus. Let's call it something more creative. So we call it Ocean Green. Get it? Ocean, seaweed, kelp, green, iron, Ocean Green. It's a pretty inexpensive product. It's a different, it's a lower quality kelp. It's not that expensive kelp that we're using for rounds 1 and round 2, but it's still good. And then the iron for color. So the bioscience powder which is really, really awesome. It's like 60-something strains of microorganisms, sugars to keep them alive. A lot of the microorganisms are based on stress and phosphorus solubilization and nitrogen fixing. We don't want to apply fertilizer in the north and transition zones in the middle of the summer. If you're in the south, you want some fertilizer. But if you're in the north, we want to kind of back off on that fertilizer because the grass doesn't want it. So what we're doing is we're tricking it, and we're applying that bioscience powder for the soil. Bioscience powder is also 1% nitrogen and 2% potassium. So the potassium is going to harden the plant. The iron's going to add for color. But then we're going to soup it up with that ocean green, which is the kelp and iron. It's going to be a really, really good summer application. So it seems a long way away, but I guess it's really not. So if you need to order your round 3 products, that's what you're getting. Again, if you haven't ordered your round 1 product yet, you're bumming. It's over. No, I'm just kidding. And I know, man, I know that in the north there's still freezing up here. It is absolutely freezing. It's been in the. Anybody see Yankee Stadium last night? Red Sox and Yankees. It was in the high 30s. It's cold, but it's gonna warm up fast. It's gonna be summer before we know it. I just did it again. I ended up talking for an hour. Anybody want to throw anything else out there? Questions? I hope everybody's having a good spring so far. I know it started slower than normal. Been a weird year, again, because we're comparing it to last spring, which was weird too. It's always going to be strange, but we're always working on new things. We're working on new products all the time. Always want to try to reduce your cost so you can be profitable. Always trying to talk about marketing. We want you to be successful. So hopefully everything is going well. Please don't ever hesitate to call us here. I talked a lot to you guys this week, again, about mixing and calibrating and all that kind of thing. So a lot of times you guys, don't feel bad about calling and asking questions like that. It's okay. Some of you guys are new with this, some aren't, but that's why you buy into the network, and we're absolutely happy to help. Hopefully you're working on, I've talked to a bunch of you guys working on more municipal and large-scale bids. I'm going to throw it out there again. I think Dave is still on. Dave Malevsky up in Maine with all of the equipment to get it done. If you score a couple of big jobs, municipal jobs, or large square footage jobs, top dressing, Dave has invested in all of the equipment, and it's been worth his while because he's got quite a few jobs to use that equipment, although I know he'd like to be using it more. I'm saying it because he's willing to travel to you to help you do the work. If you get a big sale, large square footage, municipal, athletic field, whatever, he'll help you out. So get those bids in. Most municipalities go June to June. Still could be looking for bids now. If you haven't contacted your municipalities or private schools or anything else, do it. Do it now. All right, what else? Anything else? If that's it, we'll be happy to move on. But hope everything is going well. Hopefully you're making sales. Please contact us if you need help. Going once, going twice. Talk to you guys next week. We ended up having quite a few people on this call, so we won't call them off just yet. We'll be back next week. I'm going to get my supplemental services set up in my lawn quote account so I can show you really how to do it. We'll go over that. Sell lime, sell ant flea and tick, get your round 1 done. See you later, guys.